I'm sure everyone's heard of 8-bit music before. It spawned some of the most nostalgic and recognizable songs we know today, such as the Super Mario Bros. And Legend of Zelda themes. But why is it called 8-bit and why does it sound like that? It's called 8-bit because the computers and game consoles making the music at the time used processors that handled data in 8-bit chunks, meaning each instruction was represented by 8 binary digits. This allowed for a total of 256 possible values. And when I say the computers were making the music, that's very literal, since the storage at the time didn't really allow the ability to record and save a sound file. The music was generated on the spot with instructions from the processor for pitch and length. Kinda like having a tiny band inside your console, and the processor was the conductor. So let's see how this works by understanding 1-bit first. A binary bit can be either a 1 or a 0. Not very useful, but it can signal whether something is on or off. Now imagine you're turning something on and off hundreds of times a second. All of a sudden, you have a note. Pitch occurs when you have a cyclical wave, meaning a wave that repeats itself over and over. What this process creates is a square wave because it's either on or off. If you were to turn this generator on and off 440 times a second, you'd get 440 hertz, or A. Now the NES had 5 audio generators, each capable of a task. 2 of them were square wave generators, which sound like this, 1 triangle wave generator, which sounds like this, 1 noise generator, which sounds like this, and finally a DPCM, or Delta Pulse Code Modulation generator. This was the only audio sample storage, and it was very low resolution. In fact, the original Super Mario Bros. Theme didn't even make use of this, but Super Mario Bros. 3 did. This is what it sounded like. If you put all the generators together for Super Mario Bros., this is what it sounds like. To put this into perspective, the amount of bytes required to play one note would be between 4 and 5 with a dedicated audio generator, whereas the act of storing a pre-recorded note in an extremely low bitrate MP3, I might add, is like 4,000 bytes. So 4 to 5 bytes, 4,000 bytes, huge difference. But eventually that's exactly what happened. Consoles such as the SNES, Sega Genesis, and even the Nintendo 64 would record short instrument samples and then use lines of code to alter the timing and pitch. It wasn't until the original PlayStation that we had a home console capable of streaming full quality audio. And even then, many games still use sequences and sampling for memory saving. If you had to choose, what's your favorite piece of video game music? Comment below.